There are traces in the mind of spaces that we long to find, spaces between beginnings, spaces between ends. These are spaces between moments.
Recently, I wasn't feeling well. I remember being at my oldest son's baseball game when a particular breath felt different. I was walking back from the snack shack when it happened. I sat down with my soft pretzel and nacho cheese. Then the scratchiness in my throat started. Next came the cough. The cough gradually got worse, and I didn't think much of it, even though I rarely get sick these days. I spent over a decade as a teacher of small children. It built up my immunity greatly. At work the next day, I coughed some, but not a lot. It was so minor, I figured it would go away soon. It seemed likely that I was coughing due to the bad air quality where I live. It's an agricultural area, and at this time of year, certain crops are harvested, resulting in a lot of dust. There's also a wildfire in a nearby area, and the wind blows the smoke towards us. The following day, this would be a Thursday, I had a presentation to deliver. When I awoke, I felt tired as usual because I get up before 5 a.m. I made it through the morning routine and got to the train on time. Boarding the train, I didn't feel like walking around to find a preferred spot. I often write on the train in the morning, so I like to have a seat with a tabletop to put my laptop on. Instead, I found the nearest open seat and sat down. I took out my computer and put it right back in the bag. I knew I didn't have the energy for that. So I listened to some music and YouTube videos for the 2-hour train ride. But why do I feel so tired? I kept asking myself. At work, I put on a mask because I figured I had a cold or something and I didn't want to get anyone else sick. My apology to the woman who decided to sit across from me on the train. I delivered my presentation and it seemed to go well. I had already decided by that point I would take the first train home at 3 p.m. The director of HR said I should isolate and take a COVID test just in case. Obviously, the test was positive, and I was promptly sent home in an Uber. An Uber home costs $90 or more before the tip. It's about 70 miles. Once home, I felt cold. The summer weather had turned from the 100s to the 70s, and I attributed my temperature issues to that. I took a hot bath. That never got hot enough, and that's when I had the brilliant idea to take shrooms. I have these chocolates that I bought with 1.1 grams of Amazonia cubensis, a psilocybin-producing mushroom from the Amazon jungles. I took that with gummies containing 20 milligrams of THC, got out of the tub, and went to bed. In bed, I felt hot, then cold, and back again. My body felt so tired, but I couldn't sleep. When the first tinglers arrived, I greeted them happily, looking forward to whatever might come next. Soon the walls and ceiling were dancing, with patterns whether my eyes were opened or closed. Next, I saw a donut, well, some kind of golden torus shape. The center was very small, and I saw something cascading out from the center to the outside like a fountain. The cascade reminds us of snow on an old TV screen. A face starts to appear. It's a woman. She's looking at us with piercing eyes. Her long, pointy tongue is sticking out. She licks our face, kisses us, wraps us in her arms, and whispers the secrets of the universe. When she steps back, she becomes a skeleton wearing a long white gown and a crown of daggers. She motions for us to follow her. Past her, we see some kind of wormhole. It's getting larger, or maybe just closer. We get pulled into the wormhole with a whoosh, and now we're flying through a tunnel of lights. Suddenly, we are riding a giant eel. It is flying us through space and time. After a while, it takes us back to Earth, and we glide through clouds and over mountains. With a mighty splash, we drop into the ocean. The eel is gone, and we are floating deep in the dark ocean. The sensation of weightlessness brings with it a rush of calm. We simply float. We are aware of fish, squids, and other sea creatures drifting past us. We feel peaceful, sensing the slow vibrations and undulations of the ocean. We are able to breathe, though it takes a lot of effort. It's like breathing through a very long straw. Then we hear it, what we sound like breathing. It's the death rattle. Our whole body vibrates with each exhale. We are back to lying in our bed, and our breathing scares us. Will we die? We don't want to die, and we certainly don't want to hear that breathing sound again. Relax, we tell ourselves. It's just the shrooms. We're not going to die today. We urge ourselves back into the rabbit hole, back into the darkness, back into the calm, in the arms of the skeleton queen. And everything is fine until another weird rattling breath brings us back to our bedroom in a mild sense of panic. We calm ourselves again and close our eyes. We are greeted by the vision of a valley. We walk through tall grasses and wildflowers towards a mountain. We watch the fog rise at the top of the mountain. It pushes up for a little, then begins to tumble down the mountain like a slow motion avalanche. Down and down it pours until it finally reaches us, plunging us into an empty world. We search for light, for shadows, for a way out. Every direction looks the same. We continue forward, and at last, the fog dissipates. We find ourselves on a cobblestone street lined with gas lamps in the early evening hours. Down the road, we see a group approaching. They are walking in some kind of formation. As they get closer, we can make out a tall figure in a black hooded robe. It carries a scythe in its bony hands. Death glances at us. Soon, it hisses as it saunters past. The skeleton queen is behind Death, flanked by priests and priestesses. Come, child, she calls to us. You're not going to die today. Come and walk behind Death. When you keep Death in your sights, you will not be afraid of Death anymore. Come, share your gift, share your story, share your humanity. She embraces us, and the world dissolves into a golden light. We lose sense of our body. We are not dead. We are certain we still exist, yet we have no form, no body, and yet we sense a new reality. We are filled with a sense of peace and love, warmth. So we ask ourselves, was it the COVID or the shrooms that opened the portal to the spaces between moments?